Have you felt it? That subtle, creeping sensation that the world you were born into is no longer speaking your language. It doesn't feel like the love and light awakening you read about in books. It feels like loss. It feels like isolation. It feels wrong. The friends you once shared everything with now seem like strangers. Their conversations hollow. Their priorities alien. The career that once defined you now feels like a hollow costume. A role you are tired of playing. The passions that once set your soul on fire have turned to cold ash that you are floating, adrift in a silent, grey ocean, watching the familiar shoreline of your old life recede into the mist. Your first instinct is to panic. You swim frantically, trying to return to a land that no longer welcomes you. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Am I broken? Am I being punished? This is the great deception. What you are experiencing is not a breakdown. It is a forced disconnection. It is not a sign of your failure, but a mark of your success. You are being unplugged. This process is not chaotic. It is meticulous. It is a precise, metaphysical surgery designed to sever you from a reality you have outgrown. The freedom you believe you have. The freedom to choose your job, your politician, your brand of coffee. Was that ever really freedom? Or was it merely the illusion of choice within a carefully constructed labyrinth? For centuries, ancient texts that have been hidden, mistranslated, or dismissed as myth have spoken of this moment, not as an apical ips, but as a great unveiling. The Hermetic teachings, attributed to the great scribe Thoth the Atlantean, do not describe our world as a solid, physical place. They describe it as a matrix, not a matrix of computers and code, but something far more profound. A matrix of consciousness, a consensus reality built from shared beliefs, agreements, and, most importantly, shared frequencies. You have been living inside a story written by architects you have never seen, a story designed to keep you predictable, manageable, and small. But something inside you, a spark of the original fire, has begun to remember. You started to ask questions. You started to see the cracks in the stage. You started to change your frequency. And the matrix, the great consensus machine, has registered you as an anomaly. It can no longer compute your existence. The forced disconnection has begun. This is the Thoth Prophecy, decoded for the modern age. It is the prophecy of the individual, also remembering its own sovereignty. The reason your world is falling apart is that it was built of illusions, and you, my friend, are becoming real. This journey is not about finding your place in their world. It is about remembering how to build your own. The isolation you feel is not a prison. It is a quarantine, a sacred, silent space where the system's noise can no longer reach you, allowing you, finally, to hear the voice of your own soul. We are not here to fix your old life. We are here to decode the blueprints for your new one. To understand the disconnection, we must first redefine the matrix itself. Put aside the images of green code and robotic overlords. The true matrix, the illusion that Thoth and the Gnostics spoke of, is the consensus reality. It is an invisible architecture of agreements. It is the story that humanity has collectively agreed to call true. This matrix is a frequency trap. From the moment you are born, you are tuned to its frequency. Your education teaches you what to think, not how to think. Your media teaches you what to fear and what to desire. Your economic system teaches you what to value. It is a subtle, brilliant, and all-encompassing program. Politicians appear as leaders, one great mystic observed, but are actors in a script written by hidden elites. They are not architects of change. They are managers of your perception. Consider the tools of the modern age. Social media promised to connect you, and yet it became the most powerful tool of surveillance and emotional manipulation ever devised. It doesn't connect souls. It compares masses. It harvests your outrage and your desire, your fear and your pride, and uses it as fuel to maintain the consensus. It reinforces the illusion of separation. This system is not inert. It is a living entity, an egregore of collective thought, and it needs your energy to survive. It needs your belief. It needs your compliance. So, why the forced disconnection? Because on a soul level, deep in the core of your being, you stop seeing, implying. You may not have even realized. It may have started as a simple, quiet no, a refusal to participate in the outrage, a sudden disinterest in the drama, a moment where you looked at the life you had built and asked, is this all there is? That single question was a change in your energetic signature. You began to vibrate out of key with the consensus. The Matrix is an organism. Like any organism, it has an immune system. When it detects a cell that is vibrating differently, a cell that is waking up and no longer obeying the program, it does what any immune system would do. It isolates it. This is the profound secret. The loneliness you feel, the friends who vanished, the opportunities that dried up. This is the system's immune response. It is trying to quarantine you, to cut you off from the collective, hoping you will either return to the old frequency or wither and die in isolation. But here is the great cosmic twist. This is the heart of the Thoth Prophecy. The system thinks it is punishing you. It thinks it is isolating you for its protection. But in truth, the divine, the source, the universe, whatever name you give the great intelligence, is using the system's own mechanism to liberate you. The Matrix is isolating you for your protection. It is placing you in a divine clean room, a sterile environment free from the contamination of the old frequency. You cannot see the bars of your prison while you're still attending the prison's social events. You cannot recognize the program while all your friends are still running it. The universe had to pull you out, forcibly, so you could finally see the machine for what it is. This disconnection is not an abandonment. It is an extraction. This process, this great shedding, is not a modern phenomenon. It is the oldest story in existence, coded in symbols and allegories, hidden in plain sight. This is the forbidden anatomy of your own consciousness. Look to the Emerald Tablets, where Thoth speaks of his journey into the halls of Amenti, the great underworld. This is not a physical place, but a state of consciousness. It is the journey into the dark, the void, to face the shadow lords who guard the passages. These lords are the gatekeepers of the Matrix, the personifications of the very fears and beliefs that keep humanity enslaved. Your disconnection is your personal journey into Amenti. You are walking that dark hall right now, stripped of your old identity, facing your deepest fears. Thoth teaches that one cannot bypass this hall. One must walk through it to reclaim the light in all. Consider the ancient symbol of the law. The Matrix is the labyrinth, a maze of complex illusions, dead ends, and confusing paths, all designed to make you forget who you are and where you came from. Inside, the Minotaur, false self, the ego built by the system, devours all who enter. The forced disconnection is your Ariadne's thread. It is the one, slender, golden cord that you must follow, while everyone else is running deeper into the maze, frantic for its rewards. You are following the one thread that leads out. It feels like you are going the wrong way. It feels lonely. But you are the only one moving to freedom. This is why symbols of power are repeated across empires. Why do the eye, the pyramid, and the laurel wreath appear across empires and ages? These are not mere decorations. They are sigils, symbolic anchors, ritual technology designed to tune the collective mind to the matrix frequency. What we see as spectacle, another sage wrote, they enact as ritual technology. The mass media events, the political pageantry, the Olympic Games, the corporate summits, these are mass rituals. They are designed to harvest and synchronize your collective emotional energy, forcing the walls of the consensus reality. Your disconnection means these rituals no longer work on you. You watch the spectacle and you feel nothing. The emotional hook fails, yes. Sigil loses its power. This is the most dangerous thing a single individual can do to the system. Not to fight it, but to become indifferent to it. This process is a metaphysical surgery. It hurts. You are dislodging the architecture of your false self, and that architecture was bolted to your deepest insecurities, your oldest traumas, and your most cherished dreams. The universe is not tearing you down. It is performing a forbidden anatomy on your consciousness. It is removing the parasitic code, the implants of I am not good enough, I must conform, I am alone. I is separating the real you from the programmed you, and this separation is the only path to true liberation. So, here you are. You have been extracted. You are sitting in the silent quarantine, the space between worlds. This is the void, and this, right here, is the part that breaks most people. It is the part where they panic and scramble back to the old world, accepting any illusion just to escape the terrifying, echoing silence of the real. The void feels like abandonment. It feels like emptiness. But this is the central secret of all Gnostic and Hermetic wisdom. The void is not empty. It is potential. It is the P. Rhyme matter. The quantum field, the womb of Isis, before it has been given form. It is the silence from which all true sound emerges. The Matrix hates this space. It is anti-Matrix, the system WI, will rush to fill your void with noise, a new crisis, a new relationship, a new fear, a new distraction. It will try to lure you back into a smaller version of your old life. This is your moment of power, and this is where we must integrate that crucial, transformative realization. The universe is not taking from you. It is taking for you. It has not emptied your life as a punishment. It has cleared the workbench so you can, for the first time, begin your true work. It has taken away your crayons so you would finally learn to paint. Fear, as the mystic itself, Ben Thoth might say, is not just an emotion. It's fuel for an unseen architecture. The Matrix runs on your fear. It runs on your anger, your despair, your division. Your disconnection is a fuel leak in their system. The isolation is your chance to stop leaking energy to them and start investing it in yourself. So what do you do now? You change your rituals. If they're rituals, see, create low vibration states, and Gnostic text whispers. Ours must create high ones. Their ritual is the nightly news, the endless scroll, the toxic argument. Your new ritual is 10 minutes of absolute silence. It is walking barefoot on the earth. It is writing down one true thing in a journal. It is one single, genuine act of gratitude. These small acts are ritual technology for the end. You reality. You cannot defeat them with fear, only by withdrawing your energy from their game. This is the key. Stop fighting the old world. It is a phantom, a ghost. You cannot punch a shadow. Let it collapse. Turn your back on it. Every act of love, creativity, and truth weakens the system's grip. Every time you choose authenticity over conformity, every time you speak your truth, and silence is expected, every time you create art, you are anchoring a new frequency to this planet. You are literally building a new world. This void is your workshop. The loneliness is your fault. US, the silence is your power. You are not just it. The void, you are the void, remembering how to create. We began this journey feeling like victims, like driftwood in a cold, chaotic sea. We looked at our lives, the dissolving friendships, the heart, our careers, the profound sense of alienation, and we called it loss. Now, we see the pattern. We see the hidden architecture behind the chaos. The forced disconnection was not an accident. It was not a punishment. It was an invitation. It was an extraction. It is the fulfillment of the Thoth Prophecy. The prophecy was never about a date on a calendar or a global catastrophe. It was always about this, the moment an individual soul awakens, breaks frequency, and becomes invisible to the old machine. The prophecy is about you, the matrix, the great consensus solution. For do you a story? It was a story where you were small, powerless, and separate. A story where you were a sinner in need of salvation, a consumer in need of a product, a citizen in need of a leader. It was a story designed to make you forget that. You are the source of all of it. But a spark inside you, the indwelling light the Gnostics called the Sophia, never believed the story. Why? That spark is what initiated this disconnection. On a level your conscious mind is only now catching up with. You chose this. You unplugged yourself. The prison door was never locked, as the sages say. It was built of stories, and you can rewrite them. The great shedding was the shedding of those false stories. The friends who left were the keepers of your old story. The job that he did was the stage for your old story. You are not a puppet, you are the author of the script. The reason your old life is gone is that you, the author, have written a better chapter. You are simply standing in the blank, white space between the old one ending and the new one beginning. This is the ultimate Gigimam in Tritsisi Exa, decoding ancient wisdom. The myths are not history. They are a mirror. Your life is the myth, playing out in real time. Awakening is not the end. It is the beginning of freedom. It is the moment you stop asking in the matrix for permission to be powerful. It is the moment you turn away from the spectacle and begin the ritual of your own authentic life. So, to those of you sitting in tea, silence, feeling the void, haunted by the ghosts of your old life, do not be afraid. You are not lost. You are, for the very first time, being found. You are infinite consciousness, temporarily expert. Same limits, and you are remembering that now. The disconnection is complete. You are a new connection to yourself, to the source, to a new earth is just beginning. Welcome to the real